You know, it's only been about 3.5 weeks since I broke my collarbone.
If he's hurt, we pounce. If we're hurt, he's going to pounce. Rob ain't going to just say, oh, it's okay.
I'm not sure I'm healthy enough now to go out and go for the win, but until we get on the track, we won't know.
Pretty exciting. You know, Rob's obviously the veteran of this sport and the one that everybody looks up to. And Bryce is the kind of the young gun, and he's nipping at Rob.
Me and Rob are both great competitors, and we're both been running up front all season, so I think we're going to have a great battle on our hands to win the championship, the last race, and we're going to show those fans what this racing's all about.
After the first 3 events of the 2011 Traxxas Torque Series presented by Amsoil, Rob McCachran had a huge lead in points over the rest of the Pro 2 field. That all changed at Bark River International Raceway.
Last weekend at Bark River, probably one of the craziest weekends I've had. You know, we had Rob McCachran got hurt, and he was out, and Keith Steele was driving the truck, so we knew it'd be a good weekend for our points. We were second in points. I think we were like 12 back or something.
Rob McCachran wasn't even supposed to be in the truck for the first race at Bark River. Keith Steele was Rob's backup driver.
We chose Keith to drive the truck. You know, we knew his history in the sport.
Or so everyone was led to believe. After further investigation, USAC determined that Keith was not Rob's legal backup driver.
Typical TORC unorganized decision being made here and putting a driver in an unsafe condition.
USAC came to us about 30 minutes before that round up there at Bark River and said that due to the rules, since Keith wasn't signed up prior to the season, that I was going to have to take the green flag and then go into the hot pit and let him get in. We decided that the best thing to do was to go to the halfway point, the yellow, so we didn't go down a lap, then do a driver's change, which would enable Keith to stay near the front of the pack or get back grouped up with the pack when they threw the green for the second half, which seemed to work out pretty well for us. We ended up 7th. You know, no one broke in that race. You know, unfortunate, but you know, we ended up losing a 15-point lead there and came away equal.
We won the first round, which was a really good day, and we came out the first round tied in points, me and Rob, and Keith Steele drove the truck. You know, I think he just was told to be in the back and drive around the back and get points and everything. So we came into Sunday, you know, looking at this, we're tied in points. We're going to come out of this thing looking good, you know, hopefully on top of the points.
For Sunday's event there, they talked to all the drivers and asked us if we were okay with this, if they would just let Keith get in the beginning. He starts at the back of the pack. He starts at the halfway point. He's still at the back of the pack.
But that could have happened to any one of us, and I feel that was a fair call.
What happens if I get hurt, you know, on a Friday night here in Crandon, and then all of a sudden I can't race the next day or two? Are they going to let somebody just jump in my truck and run it for points just like they did there? I would think they'd have to, because once they open up the door, you know, that's the way it's going to be.
Rob McCachran's points lead was wiped out after the first race, and he entered the second day tied with Bryce Menzies. With Keith Steele behind the wheel of Rob's Ram Mopar truck, Bryce looked primed to take over first place in the Pro 2 standings.
The top 3 up front, we're running up front all day, and I was in third trying to make a pass on Marty and Chad.
Started getting a good run going and went in the back section there, and the belts flipped off the motor, and there's a big sweeping turn, and end up skating out, smacking off the guardrail, coming back out and collecting 3-4 trucks.
I see Chad going into the K-rail and comes up, you know, rolling, and Marty Harks comes sliding in. And
his rear end kicks out and just collected me right in it.
And then it all started to go slow motion for me, because the next person I looked at was Bryce Menzies, and I see him, and he's just like drifting towards the accident. I'm kind of almost going, whoa, whoa, whoa. And all of a sudden he goes in there and just clips him, and I see him stop, and I'm just standing there and like, what just happened, you know?
Come over that hill and come down the corner, and there, K2's on the radio. Big crash, big crash. And there's dust, and you drive in there and you're on the brakes and you're like, there's 3 cars right there. And there's pretty good chance those 3 cars aren't gonna roll anymore. They're not running, they're done.
It kept them out of the big melee that started out in the beginning. So looking at that, it worked to his advantage in that.
So the top 3 guys out front all got tangled up, which in Rob's book, that's the only thing that he could have wished for even happening.
Thank you so much.
Great job, thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
In racing, you got to work hard at it. You got to practice. Got to get all the right people and the right things put together. But you also got to have a little bit of luck. And the luck gods were shining down on us at Bark River on Sunday. We couldn't have hoped for anything to happen like that. You would never expect it. But you know, in racing, anything that can happen probably will. And you know, it enabled us to keep our points lead.
Keith Steele was driving Rob's truck, and he ended up second for the day. So we went from a really high point to a really low point. It just fell out from underneath us.
Keith finishing second for us was an awesome job. Exactly what we ordered.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that ever happen. And so from that, they went up 6 points on me.
That race couldn't have gone better for Rob Mack.
It definitely worked into Rob's benefit.
Everything had worked perfectly for Rob McCachran, except for the part where his team manager, Kenny K2 Kincaid, got caught trying to pull a fast one.
We didn't want to lose points. And actually, you know, I had made a decision that we hadn't had a team driver signed up for that truck, which legally you have to do prior to the year.
If you're on his team, he's gonna push all for you, whether he likes you a lot or not, because he's getting paid for you guys to win. So he's gonna do everything he can to make his drivers win.
I made a decision that, okay, if I don't find a team driver that they allow us to have points for, Rob is gonna get in that truck injured. I know what a warrior is. He was gonna do it. And I just couldn't allow that to happen and put his health at risk.
That's bending the rules. That's playing with Mother Nature.
I took it upon myself to try to make that happen. And before it happened, was called out on it at the beginning of the race. And as I thought, when they would not allow that to happen, guess who got in the truck? Rob got in the truck. He had a brain injury, a shoulder injury, on medication. Should have never happened. And that's what I was trying to prevent from happening, because he did not want to give his championship away. He did not want to give it up for the team. So he got in that truck and he raced.
Yeah, that guy's a handful. I mean, he's competitive with no bounds.
The series and the other competitors on the next day come to that realization that I came to earlier, that he really shouldn't be in the truck and we should allow a backup driver.
There are times that he's very challenging. I think sometimes he argues it even though deep down he knows it's not the right thing to argue, but he's still doing it to defend his guys, and that's admirable. That's gonna make your guys want to go to battle for you, and if something happens, he knows they're gonna have his back because he's displayed it, he's got theirs.
I made the decision, I stand by it. I'm happy I did. I was doing the right thing to keep Rob healthy.
Rob's healing, he's a little bit better, and he's coming to Crandon, and I think he's going to drive the truck. No one knows for sure, but that's what he's saying. So, you know, hopefully he's healed and he's ready to go, and we can go out and have a good battle from here on out.
Crandon, it's, you know, obviously it's the biggest race for us of the whole season, so Keith brought his own truck out.
You know, we helped them guys out with some things over there, and it worked out all well. And but you do what you know, and this is what we know right now.
So we won't have him to use as a backup driver, and honestly, I hope that my collarbone's healed enough that we won't need a backup driver anyway.
When the Traxxas Torque Series presented by AMSOIL raced at the Crandon International Raceway earlier in the year, one of the races had to be postponed due to the weather. That race would be made up as the series returned to Crandon for the 5th event of the season. That meant 3 races during the weekend instead of 2, and this time there would be no backup drivers. If Rob McCachran was going to hold off Bryce Menzies, he would have to do it himself.
I got to make sure that I, don't lose too much ground or I gain ground. You never know what's going to happen. And we come back stronger for the last 4 of the year. We're leading the points by 6 right now, and we're just hoping to maintain that lead through the weekend. I've got some concerns.
Rob Mack got hurt. That hurt his chances, having to have a substitute driver in. He's done Mopar and Ram so well. Such a legend in the sport, and a real veteran.
I have to shift and steer and pull tear-offs all with the right hand. So the left hand will just serve it as a filler for when the right hand has to come off the wheel. The left hand will have to hopefully do its job and help me get through that part. It's going to be a learning situation.
I know he's coming back for Crandon. I know he's going to be hurt a little bit, but I know he's going to give 110%. You're going to have struggles no matter what, and you just got to overcome them.
We have to roll with the punches. There is no excuse for not winning a championship. Everybody says, what if this, what if that? I would have won all the races if this didn't happen to me. Well, that's the same story in everybody's camp.
He's 6 up on me, and then I think Horde's in 3rd by, 20 points or something like that. So, I feel really confident going into this weekend. Truck's all prepped, and I want to go out there and battle clean with Rob. Hopefully we can get out front like we have been. I feel real comfortable racing with Rob. I know he's not going to come and slam me in the door and do stuff like that, and I know he knows that with me. So for us going in, the points between me and him, I think it's going to come down to the wire no matter what.
The point system used by USAC helps keep drivers from pulling away early in the season.
Whoever designed our point system must have done it right, because we had several that had ties, we had several that were 1 point off. The way the point system is structured, it creates tight battles all the way to the very end.
Yeah, I like the point system that they have set up. You can be back, 20 points, and one guy has a bad day or 2 days, and you can be right back in the hunt.
We need to get every point that we possibly can, and if it's taking a little bit of a chance, we got to start doing it.
With 3 races at Crandon International Raceway, both Rob and Bryce knew the stakes were raised in the chase for the Pro 2 championship.
If I want to win, I want to beat the best there is out there, and I think Rob is the best guy out there.
Once I get in the truck, and I'm sure a lot of the adrenaline will take over, and hopefully there's no pain at all, and we can go for the wins here.
Hopefully we're both healthy and racing at the best potential that we can.
The first race at Crandon wasn't just a makeup race for the Pro 2 field. It was also a cup race, which meant more money and prestige for whoever ended up on top of the box.
There's going to be a lot of people enjoying this here, because 3 days of racing, it's going to be wild.
Welcome everyone to Crandon International Off-Road Raceway and Pro 2.
They're already off the line. Have to point out right away, Scott, this is kind of a 2-in-1. It's a points race, and it's also the Forest County Potawatomi Chairman's Cup race with an extra purse, so these guys have a lot more on the line than just points.
Coming into turn 1, it's Jeff Kincaid with the whole shot.
Kincaid was the inaugural winner of this cup race last year, and he's out to repeat already. Looks like Horde in 2nd, Taylor 3rd, and McCackern with that bum shoulder running in 4th.
We got to emphasize the fact that this has been traditionally over the years Scott Taylor's better race.
Yeah, buddy. Second place. Get Taylor behind, 1 car behind.
Chad Horde right now running in 2nd place has Ron Stukenberg here from Nissan, checking him out real close. Nissan might be jumping into the series again full-time next year.
Kincaid continues to lead as they go over the tracks as launch, so great battling going on back through the field. As Van Den Heuvel looks now to the inside of McCackern, a young guy taking out the veteran of the field. Looks like McCackern able to hold off Van Den Heuvel. That's the battle for 3rd.
I'm kind of surprised right now to see both our points leaders, both Bryce Menzies and Rob McCackern, a little bit, 4th, 5th back in the pack, having to work their way forward.
Well, here at Crandon International, so much goes into getting a good start. The famed turn 1, the land rush start. You have to get a good jump off the line, or you're going to have to struggle through the field and try to push your way to the front.
McCackern over-rotates. Mikey Vanwell goes by to the outside. McCackern may be having issues a little bit with that bum shoulder of his.
Kincaid stretching his lead a little bit of rubbing going on now between McCackern and Menzies, the 2 Ram trucks in the field. Now Van Den Heuvel over-rotates and he gets crossed up.
Meanwhile, Kincaid is running away as they head into turn 1, upwards of almost 100 miles an hour.
Can't say it enough, Kincaid just knows how to step his game up here at Crandon International, especially in these cup races. Of course, the first time he was ever in a cup race in Pro 2-wheel drive was here at Crandon, and he won.
We're going to keep an eye on Scott Taylor right now. Easily his best run so far in 2011. He always does very well here at Crandon, always brings out that big Roush power plant just for this race.
Rob McCackern battling back down the inside of Mike Van Den Heuvel as they go through the gravel pit turn. A little bit of contact there, but Van Nubel able to hold off McCachran.
Man, if I was a young guy in Pro 2, that is not a location I'd want to be right now between Bryce Menzies, actually I should say in front of Bryce Menzies and Rob McCachran, because they're going to school him a little bit, kind of push him around a little bit, because he's a new kid on the block, so to speak.
Van Nubel also working to get up and around Scott Taylor, so at this point he's got to kind of feel like he's made it. He's sandwiched between two of the longest running veterans of the class.
Right now you see Rob McCachran trying to find a way around Mikey Van Nubel as he goes wide through the Argonne turn. Van Nubel able to hold him off. Once again, almost side by side for home. Rob McCachran and Bryce Menzies. Those are the two guys in the points battle right now.
Menzies trying to wrestle away the points lead from McCachran. Of course, McCachran's been battling that collarbone injury going back to Bark River, where he actually had to have Keith Steele substitute for him.
Once again, as our top trucks head down into turn 1, it's Kincaid up front.
Looking right, on the right. On the right, all clear.
McCachran looks inside of Van Nubel as they come through turn number 1, but again, Mikey doing a great job of playing defense, and they're still keeping in touch with Taylor. That's the battle for third.
Up around that barn. Oh, something happened to Van Nubel. He landed a little bit too sideways, it appeared. Rosen, that right rear tire, right rear side of that truck just drops down. You can see him now off the pace.
Right rear flat.
Yeah, you called it, Scott. A right rear flat tire for Mike Van Nubel, so tough break for the kid running with the big dogs here at Pro 2-wheel drive. That'll let McCachran all alone into 4th.
I do not care what kind of warrior you are, how much pain threshold you can withstand, but Rob McCachran and that left shoulder has got to be feeling as this track, big time jumps, big time speed, all those G-forces through the corners.
Let alone the pain of the impacts and everything else, just the loss of strength in itself, especially trying to shift with the right hand, steer with the left. It's almost impossible when your left shoulder is injured.
And kudos to Jeff Kincaid. Started the season on his couch watching the race weekend. Now is leading once again at the prestigious Chairman's Cup event here at his hometown track.
Chad Horde still running in second, and Horde at this point really not feeling any pressure from behind, so it's all systems go trying to run down our leader, Jeff Kincaid.
Our top 2 trucks really are pulling away from the rest of the field, but keep in mind, at this point, I kind of think they're starting to play that time game, waiting for that competition yellow. We've seen that a lot this year, and I think we're starting to see that right now between our top 2 trucks.
Got something else I want to point out early on in the race. A lot of the time here at Crandon International, it kind of becomes a battle of Midwest versus West Coast. Look at the top 3 trucks. It's all Midwest drivers. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Illinois represented in the top 3.
Quick stop, guys. Gotta be quick here.
Mikey Van Nubel pulling into the hot pits. If he can try and stay on that lead lap, he still has a shot at a top 5, maybe even a podium spot if they get him out in the lead lap. But here come our leaders.
McCachran looked to the inside of Taylor, a little bit of contact. Great battle between 2 of the long-term veterans, guys that have turned as many laps as anybody else here at Crandon International.
Going back a few years, keep in mind they were actually teammates in the famed Ford Rough Riders team. Scott Taylor in a Pro 2, Rob McCachran in a Pro 4. So now they're adversaries, one-time teammates.
Battling for third now as they head into the Argonne corner. McCachran less than a truck length apart. McCachran dives inside. Taylor, though, staying right on the cushion, finding a lot of speed out of that Ford.
It's hard to believe the dust that this track is kicking up, considering the weather conditions that leading into this weekend's racing. Tons and tons of rain have fallen on this track.
Tip of the hat to the track crew here at Crandon as we see Menzies now going to work on McCachran as they come out of that hairpin near the starting line. But back out front, Scott, no change. It's all Jeff Kincaid and Chad Horde.
Absolutely. Upwards of maybe 15 to 20 car lengths Chad Horde has over the rest of the field, and he's running in second place. But right now, it's all about Jeff Kincaid. It's all about that guy running up front. Nobody, and I mean nobody, I don't care if it's Johnny Greaves, Scott Douglas, Walker Evans himself, no one has got more laps on this racetrack than Jeff Kincaid.
Yeah, maybe a little extra advantage. He only lives about 7 miles down the road in a small town called Argonne.
Chad Orr still looking awfully strong, but he's a very, very smart driver for having such a short career in Pro 2. So again, I'm going to tell you, he's playing that halfway point game, waiting for the competition yellow to come out before he really turns it loose. Meanwhile, McCachran really starting to pressure Taylor.
Best battle on the race course right now is for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. McCachran all over Scott Taylor as they go around Parsons Pond, shows a wheel to the inside. Now they go through the little switchback section. McCachran flips to the other side of Taylor and shows a wheel.
It looks like McCachran may be faster than Taylor, but oh, he goes to the inside. He'll slide wide to the outside. Here comes Taylor back inside one more time.
Side by side as they go down that fast backstretch. Taylor will be on the inside of the hairpin, and Taylor muscles his way back in front of Rob McCachran.
This is at a point. McCachran's always been very aggressive, but very clean in doing so. But not so much anymore to make contact.
All right. There you got Rob. Keep going. 11:20.
McCackron ultimately almost went around. Taylor got involved and Menzies got involved as well. Looks like McCackron, though, was the biggest loser in the situation.
And now he finds himself well behind, probably 25, 30 car lengths. And I wonder how much that has affected his shoulder.
Yeah, now he's got a big uphill climb if he wants to get back in contention for a top 3 spot. Kincaid, though, has got the easy go of it right now as he goes once again into the Traxxas launch zone over the jump. Horde all alone in second. No pressure from behind on Horde.
Our top 2 trucks, there it is. The competition yellow comes out. Our Ram Runner pace truck will pull onto the track.
Yeah, great race, buddy. Great race here. It's you and Kincaid, man. You're checking out.
Kincaid and Horde dominant in the first half of this race. Taylor across the line third.
It's yellow. Lower up, lower up. Should be faster. I'm not able to get the speed out of it. Every corner the thing just dies. I can't get a run and the thing just shuts off. And we understand. We're sorry. There's nothing we can do right now. You're currently P4. The jump and just dies. We've gone through all this same shit, but well, let's go.
Our pace truck is on the track. Our field is now collected bumper to bumper from Jeff Kincaid, Chad Horde, Scott Taylor on back.
Looks like you're braking a little bit earlier than most, but you're carrying better speed coming out, so I wouldn't change that. And then the only other spot that I see you really losing time is coming over the barn jump. All right, those are the 2 spots I'm working on, no more.
How about this? Let's throw this guy up on the microphone. Grab the headset, man. We've got Brian Deegan up here.
Yeah, we're at the halfway point. Real quick, Brian, what do you see happen in the second half of this race?
I see a guy taking the lead and winning this race.
Thanks for being as neutral as possible.
The educated guest, yeah. Brian Deegan.
Now, Kincaid's on the gas. This is his home track. He should have it wired. So I want to see Chad Horde get in there and mix it up, though.
The pace trucks pull up the side. Stasny's in the flag stand. We're getting ready to go green flag racing. And Taylor gets a good jump. Nowhere to go. Menzies to the outside.
Struck down to the inside of Kincaid for a moment, but nothing doing there. And Kincaid accelerates ahead. Taylor for a moment also to the inside of Horde. Nothing changing on the restart. The order stays exactly the same.
Now, granted, Brian, that these are 900 plus horsepower race trucks. Yours is about 450 or so. How much dirt is getting kicked back up into the cockpit of your truck?
It's intense. You're out there taking buckets of dirt to the face, just hoping it's not rocks coming at you.
Menzies takes a look at the inside of Taylor right before the end finish, and they're 3 wide.
Menzies tried the slide job on Taylor, but Taylor, the veteran, wasn't having any of it. 5 laps to go now for Kincaid, Horde, and Taylor.
Good job. Let's just concentrate these guys in front of you.
Man, and McCackron's got a long way to go getting into the mix of things right now. Now, you've done a lot of things injured in your life, Brian, whether it's competing, doing freestyle motocross. It seems like you've never had a day where you're in some sort of crazy pain or something. Kind of describe to us what McCackron might be going through right now with a broken shoulder.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to tough it out. You get out there, you start racing, the adrenaline gets going, and you forget about your injury. And you're in a roll cage, so he's pretty good off, so it's time for him to get focused, lay it down. I know he's getting focused, wants to win this race.
Again, Kincaid comes around turn number 1, about 10 car lengths over Chad Horde. Menzies third.
Might be just the number of laps Kincaid has run here, but he has found some speed somewhere that nobody else has. Although there he made a little bobble in turn 2 and Horde able to close the gap just a bit as they head down into the gravel pit.
I wonder how many laps those 2 drivers have done around this track. I want to see Chad Horde stick it in there and make a battle for this lead.
Not just how many times they've gone around, but battling for the lead.
All right, you got about 2 car lengths on Menzies. You got Menzies behind you in third.
Kincaid goes a little wide up against the wall right before the start-finish line.
I think that's where he's finding traction and finding speed, though, Scott.
Absolutely. It's slick down the inside. You can stick the rear wheel up in that fluff, get a run out of that corner. But if he's doing that, Chad Horde can stick it in on the inside.
Well, you know what, Deegan, I want to ask you about personalities of drivers. Yourself, you're kind of a boisterous kind of guy. You really all hang out both on and off the track. You know, personal life, you know, you're very, very outgoing. And you got Chad Horde. I mean, very quiet, very meek, kind of humble. and yet, how do those two personalities contrast when you get behind the wheel of a race truck?
It does matter. I don't think anyone would get on this track if they weren't a fighter. So they're going to have it deep inside. It's going to come out. Chad Horde has a fighter in him that's going to come out to win this race.
Very good point. And he's made up a ton of ground. Horde is now in 4 car lengths on Jeff Kincaid.
He's on him like a dog on a piece of meat.
Battle for the lead shaping up and still closing the gap. Look at the amount of dust being thrown straight into the cab of Chad Horde's Nissan. About 4 car lengths between him. Horde trying to outbreak Kincaid as they come into the gravel pit.
Both drivers are on the high line through the Oakley timepiece gravel pit turn. Up over the Traxxas launch zone. 4 car lengths separating 1 and 2. At what point in time, Ryan, do you actually tell the spotter with, you know, how many laps is going in the race, just shut up and let me drive my race?
I actually like the spotter telling me, I'm like, hey, when I'm being a whip, tell me to get on the gas. I tell him to talk me all the way through it. I enjoy that. Other drivers just want to focus.
Again, Chad Horde is still making up ground of Kincaid. Kincaid, he's led from the drop of the green flag. Could he have burned up that right rear tire a little bit?
That may be the case. We're going to find out, though. It could simply be that Kincaid isn't quite ready to show his hand yet. He might have something else for Horde yet.
Here they come into the Forest County Potawatomi turn 1. Kincaid still with the lead. May have pulled away a little bit, maybe 1, maybe 2 car lengths. Once again, thanks a lot for coming up here, Brian. Hopefully we'll see you here quite a few times throughout the weekend, because you're always fun to have up here.
Thanks for having me. I'm just stoked to be here and race in front of all these cool fans.
Brian Deegan, it's always a pleasure, man. That guy's an absolute trip. Back up front, though, it's still all Jeff Kincaid over Chad Horde, and really no sign of third place.
Once again, you can see here's where it's coming down to, Shane, is the drivers are all chasing one guy. Obviously, that's Jeff Kincaid. All of the drivers are taking different lines. Now we're pointing the race, so the gloves have come off. We've been saying it all summer long. Now is when the guys are starting to get serious. They're not saving anything. They're not saving tires. They're not worrying about fuel mileage. They're absolutely chasing down the leader no matter what it takes to get there.
Taylor running in 4th. Looks like McCackern all the way back to 7th place, so a tough break for him after that contact earlier in the race, and not a very good restart either.
Bryce Menzies is going to try and take advantage of this, and once again, in the tight points battle with Rob McCackern. So the more space he can put between him, or the more trucks he can put between him and Rob McCackern, the better, as Jeff Kincaid still maintaining a great lead, and now you can see in the corners, the track is starting to go away.
Yeah, a lot of dust being kicked up in some sections of the course. To add to one of your points earlier about Bryce Menzies, the importance of the points chase, a lot of times it doesn't come down to the wins and the great days that you have, but how you manage the days that aren't going so well. Today for Bryce Menzies, he's running in 3rd, not having the best of days, but he's still going to come out with more points than McCackern if their positions hold as they are right now.
It's kind of ironic you mentioned right now running in 3rd, not the best of days. Any other driver in this class would be very happy with a 3rd place, but not this Red Bull Ram team with Bryce Menzies. He wants that top spot each and every single time they hit the track. But man, right now it's all Kincaid. But it looks like Chad Horde might be starting to reel in our leader just a little bit up and over the Traxxas launch zone.
Menzies still a good distance back from Horde, and Taylor a good distance back from Menzies.
Flag, white flag. Come on, buddy. 1 lap. White flag, this time by. Keep fighting.
Here we go, Shane. Now it's going to get dead on serious. 1 lap remaining here at Crandon. It's a long track, but if you have got anything at all for the leader, now's what's got to happen.
And at this point, Horde is really the only guy in striking distance.
Stick with it, buddy. Stick with it. You got about 6 car lengths on Menzies. Stick with it, buddy. White flag, let's go.
One final time to that tight, tricky left-hand bank turn into that long straightaway into turn 1. It looks like he came out nice and clean, so this is where it's going to be really tricky. Can he maintain that speed all the way through turn 1? Don't bike it. Basically, keep it nice and straight, nice and clean, inside all the corners. Protect that line.
Scott, we know, speaking historically, if you bet on Jeff Kincaid to make a mistake when he's all by himself out front, you're making a sucker bet. It's going to come down to Chad Horde being super aggressive here in the final half a lap.
And I can't remember the last time, if it ever has happened, where Jeff Kincaid made a mistake to lose a race. It's always been a mechanical issue, even going back to the Pro Light days. As one more time through that Oakley timepiece corner, comes out nice and clean, now headed for that Traxxas launch zone.
One last time, up and over the big jump here at Crandon International, on his way to a second straight win in the Forest County Potawatomi Chairman's Cup race. There's the checkered flag. Jeff Kincaid takes the win in front of his hometown fans. Battle for second at the line. Menzies look to the inside of Horde. And close call at the line. I want to say that Horde came across second and Menzies third.
Hometown hero Jeff Kincaid took the checkered flag.
Woo-woo! Yeah, we had a great race when I knew Chad was there pushing me, and I tell you what, I made the right choice on those BF Goodrich tires, and they just hung on, and they had a good starting spot. We were fourth over, you know, it's prime spot in that spot, and I knew the corner is mine, and I wasn't letting up, you know, so I had the whole shot coming into it, and it was time to chase me, and that's the worst thing you could ever try to do is chase me.
Chad Horde edged past Bryce Menzies for second.
It just feels awesome. Bark River, we had the lead and ended up getting in a wreck, and wasn't able to finish the race, and I just, you know, I don't know if people thought it was a fluke or what, but we come here to Crandon and back it up.
I feel like I caught him in this corner over here, and coming to the last corner, I dove inside, and I didn't want to go smash his door or anything. I left him enough room, and it was nose to nose, and he came away a little bit farther ahead. You know, we come here to win, and we're a winning team, and you know, when you get third or second, it's not your day. You know, we want to come away on the top, and we're in third, and that's 2 spots down from it. So we're gonna go work on the truck tonight and come back tomorrow, and hopefully be on that spot.
Let's go to the winner's circle.
Congrats, Bryce.
Congratulate Jeff and Bryce.
I'm just proud to be a hometown boy and keeping it here at home. Woo!
Mechanical issues caused Rob McCackron to DNF and lose the points lead to Bryce Menzies.
My Parker pumper hose fell off and we started fogging up, so I couldn't even run hard. But as far as the collarbone goes, I mean, the adrenaline kicks in and you know you want to go, and I can tell it's a little bit sore. Hopefully we didn't do any more damage.
When the Pro 2 field had raced at Crandon earlier in the season, Rob McCackron was healthy and on top of his game. He had won the first race and might have won the second if it hadn't been postponed because of weather. As a result, he had to run the makeup race while nursing a series of injuries and ended up not finishing because of mechanical problems.
You never quit, you never give up. You got to keep giving it 100%. There's a lot of people around you that have been giving it 100%, and your sponsors expect you to give 100%. So can't ever give up.
Winning a championship would be huge for this whole team in general, all my partners with the team, and you know, for me and my dad, we've been in this sport for 4 years now, and you know, that's been our goal once we got this Pro 2 is to go win a championship. We ended up 3rd points last year in the Pro 2, and we want to get to that top spot.
I know Bryce, and I know he'd rather me being healthy all year and beat me fair and square. You know, but things happen, everybody has their ups and downs, and you know, you just have to roll with it and continue on.
For the first time this season, Rob McCackron was starting a race without being atop the Pro 2 standings. That distinction now belonged to Bryce Menzies.
Right now, the strategy for us is to get hole shots, lead the halfway, get those 2 bonus points, and then go on and win the race.
Pro 2-wheel drive stage and on the line here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. Green flag, 2nd round out of 3 here this weekend.
Into turn 1, side-by-side drag race, and just like that, look at the lead in turn 1 by McCackron.
Got a good run into the first turn. I think we were first headed right into the turn, but Jeff Kincaid, he got me going around the outside, and then we were running second there.
Kincaid pulls in front of McCackron as they come past this crowd here at the Big House. Kincaid now your race leader.
Kincaid gets squirrely off the 2nd turn jump, but it maintains the lead. McCackron 2nd, Menzies 3rd.
Well, this truck hasn't seen mud in the front of it all weekend. I haven't been sprayed all weekend.
Kincaid won here yesterday, trying to make it 2 for 2 on the weekend.
For the first 4 or 5 laps, we were just trying to hang with him and, you know, working with the collarbone there, and really super stoked about, you know, the position that we were in, and just trying to ride it out and keep, you know, close points with Bryce Menzies.
In 2011, it's all about the points, but former teammates battling out right now between McCackron and Menzies.
Still there, clear. Half clear, 1 clear.
Bryce ended up getting ahead of me, so we're just running 3rd. Real happy with that position we were in for the first half of the race.
McCackron comes battling back, but it's not going to matter because Menzies will hold on to 2nd.
I was kind of hoping Jeff and Bryce and Rob would start dicing it up. Hopefully one would get punted wide and then I'd start going at it, but it was all good, clean racing, and then something happened to Rob here on turn 1.
Mechanical issues for Rob McCachran.
In about lap 5 or so, we ended up spitting a drive shaft out. We just had to coast off the track. And a very unfortunate situation for us with, Mopar and Ram and Traxxas and Amsoil and all the BF Goodrich people. We were right there in the hunt with the points with Bryce, and now we're still in second place, but we're quite a bit down.
McCachran pulls off course. His day is done.
We just kind of stayed with it, and a lot of attrition out there yesterday.
4, 5 trucks battling for position, heading down the hill towards the Oakley timepiece gravel pit turn.
Kincaid holds the advantage over the rest of the field. Menzies trying to close the gap.
Contact made between Van Oevel and Taylor. Marty Hart, Chad Horde up front. Marty Hart gets by cleanly, and they're still battling for position all the way to the front with Kincaid and Menzies up front.
On the left, still tight. Clear, clear, clear. Clear all around. Beautiful pass. Clear, clear, clear. 2 back now.
Van Oevel spins out.
A lot of guys made a couple mistakes, and so I was able to kind of capitalize on that.
Clear to get on the track. Get on the track. Clear, clear, clear. On the right, Connor, right on the right. He's right there. Hold your line. Still there.
Oh, we had a great hole shot, and we were just biding our time and making things go, and I don't really know what happened. I come off the jump, and I heard a snap, I think it was an input shaft or something in the transmission, but can't say enough for Traxxas and stuff. We had a great hole shot going. We won the race yesterday, and but that's racing, we got to come back and rebound from that, and we'll go get them tomorrow.
Bryce Menzies now running up front all by himself. One last turn before they cross the Amsoil finish line.
There's the checkered flag. Menzies is your winner here on Saturday in Pro 2-Wheel Drive. Chad Horde across the line in second, and Marty Hart on the podium in third.
Great job by the Monster Energy Toyota teammate of Johnny Freeze. First time on the podium in 2011.
You're a badass, buddy. You are a badass. That's how you repay guys that stay all night. Thank you.
Thank every one of you for staying up all night working on this thing.
You can hear the conversation going back and forth between Bryce Menzies and his crew. Both sides very, very happy with this victory.
Yeah, I'm really stoked, just got a second here yesterday and another second here today, and we're just hopefully keep moving up in these points, just for Boss Snowplow and Amsoil, Nissan, BF Goodrich, just to be here again in the winner's circle for them is just awesome.
I'm finally on the podium.
Once again, Rob McCachran wasn't able to finish the race.
The drive shaft ended up coming out of the truck, so we just had to coast off to the side. Pretty devastating for the points. We'll bring the truck in here tonight, start working on it, and get it all put back together, and hopefully go after it tomorrow.
As the season goes on, a driver's strategy can change based on where they are in the standings. All drivers want to win, but those concerned with points might become more conservative during a race as they look at the bigger picture. Those who are out of the chase will do whatever they can to take the checkered flag.
We're not out there for points racing anymore. We're out there to win.
We want to go win races. If we win races, we're going to win the championship, and that's what we're here for.
We got to win the points championship. You're going to have to win races.
Rain's off and on all morning. They've stopped for the moment, but the track is super slick as our Pro 2-Wheel Drives are on the line.
Pull those belt tight switches on. Mud race, 9 laps.
Today you'll see me pushing it pretty far. It's time to go.
Race fans, Pro 2's at the line. Green flag is out. Here we come into Forest County, Potawatomi turn 1.
Trucks going every which way as they sort themselves out through turn number 1.
Heading into turn number 2, who's going to survive that? Now looks like once again Taylor's up front, but how about this? A kid from the desert right now running in second place.
I went through, I think, 20 tear-offs in the first 3 laps. So I was just trying to conserve everything and, keep calm.
Find your way around. Yeah, 9 laps.
I mean, look at the trucks, are all over the place.
More trouble. Looks like Marty Hart went up and over actually onto another section of the course.
Marty Hart's down the front straightaway.
Yeah, fortunately, there's actually an access road right there. You see him on it. Oh, now it's being blocked by Mike Van Oevel, so mayhem all over the place.
Big lead, Scotty. Take it easy down here now.
Even when you're not getting mud thrown into your cab, you're still dealing with the raindrops that you have to constantly wipe off of your visor.
Taylor looking so strong out there right now.
Taylor actually making it look probably way easier than it actually is. You don't see him really fighting the wheel. He's very smooth, very deliberate in all his movement.
Taylor was up in the lead for the longest time. He had the whole shot. He had the inside pole. He ran a good race.
So here's a great battle going on right now between Jeff Kincaid and I believe that's Rob McCachran heading into turn 2 past the bar jump. And look at the inside of the cockpit of these drivers.
Kincaid able to hold off the charge by McCachran once again.
This is going to be one of those cases as McCachran. I can't believe I'm seeing this. McCachran loses it, slides sideways, so lose one spot for sure, possibly more. But this is the kind of mistake you never, ever see a driver with this kind of experience make.
I ended up making a mistake and let some guys go by, and just really dealing with the mud was really tough for us.
Ford sneaks by.
Jeff Kincaid now trying to reel in the back bumper of Bryce Menzies. And how about Oberg? Oberg has worked his way to the back and driving a nice, smooth race. We are talking about an ice rink out there right now. These guys are sliding around.
We were all right up there. Bryce was in the mix, and he's not from this neck of the woods where he can know what it's like to race on snow.
Taylor's getting a little loose in the rear end a little bit. Oh, right rear flat tire. There's a right rear flat tire on Scott Taylor, our leader, and we're just a few laps from the finish. Can he hang on? There's a right rear flat, no doubt about it.
Taylor's got a flat in front of you.
And all of a sudden, he started going up in smoke.
He's on the edge of spinning out all over the place, so now let's get around this.
Bryce Menzies, I think he's that shark that smells blood in the water.
Gotta slow down coming in that turn a little sooner.
Oh, Taylor's off the track. Taylor completely off the track, and Menzies goes inside. Taylor hung up in that heavy mud, pushing all over the turn, and Bryce Menzies now is up front.
And finally, Taylor made a mistake in front of me. I got out front, finally got some speed air. You always had to be real patient.
White flag is out now for our race leader, the Red Bull Ram of Bryce Menzies. And it's Kincaid over.
Bryce Menzies, Charlie Schlieve, and the entire crew have really done their homework. And this is all about the team. This isn't just the driver, it isn't just the crew team. It's the whole chemistry of getting that kid around this racetrack.
One final time past the rain-soaked crowd here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. Menzies inside of 1/2 of a lap to go, and he will be on top of the podium if he can hold on.
And to think it was just a few, months ago that he actually won the Baja 500, going from one extreme to the next. Dry, hot, I guess we'll call it sunny, but extremely muddy conditions.
No one behind us, just bring it in.
As the win goes to Bryce Menzies.
Kincaid was running second, but now he spins out. Looks like he's hung up on the retaining wall. Oberg will come across the line in second.
Hey, we got second, didn't we? Hey, what I said!
Kincaid having all kinds of issues.
Jeff goes up into the bank there, and he lost it there, and that's what happens when you don't have king shocks on it.
McCachran across the line third. Kincaid finally back onto the race line and makes contact and goes around again, so all kinds of issues for Jeff Kincaid right at the finish.
Excellent job, Bryce. Hell of a job. Thank you, guys.
Bryce Menzies won for the second time in as many races.
I've never raced a race like that in my life. It's number 2 of the weekend, and it just feels so good for Red Bull. These BFG tires hooked up in this mud, which I don't think any other tire could do it besides BFG. And just got to thank Ram, power plant under this thing, and woo!
I figured he didn't know how to drive in the mud.
Rob McCachran's podium finish in the weekend's third race kept him in the hunt for the Pro 2 championship.
We just needed to get a better hole shot, get to the front, and not get covered with so much mud. Our system worked pretty well. Collarbone, it's fine.
Pretty good race. I was just trying to scrape the mud off my visor just enough. But out there, you're driving on marbles, but with the full engine in that doggone truck, it worked a pretty good race.
With only 2 events left in the Traxxas TORC Series presented by AMSOIL, there's a new leader and only a few opportunities left to catch him.
He's that far.